Okay, so I can see some of you. I don't see many faces here, but that's okay. We will get started. So welcome. Hey, Bill, it's good to see your face. It's good. So yeah, hi, I'm Tanya Angus, and I'm the Director of Rec Services at the University of Manitoba. I just have a few housekeeping things here for everybody. So it is 12:30 right on the dot. So we'll kind of give everybody a minute or so here. But yeah, I just kind of drafted an agenda / topics just so we can kind of take a look. And kind of go from there to determine where do we want to go with our emerging trends today. So we'll just wait one more minute here. And you can see on the agenda, I'm sharing the screen there, so you can see the session is being recorded. Please feel free to put comments in the chat, or if you have questions, you can obviously speak as well. And we'll go through the rest of the discussion here. And then after the session that's being recorded, we can send out, will be available on the Canadian Region YouTube channel within a few days or so. So all of that to say, let's get started. Let's see how many people we got here. Okay, cool. And I have some helping me here today, so they're going to just help assist with entering extra people in and adding people into the group here. So if you guys can take yourself off of taking your video away, I want to see your faces if I could, and or hands. I'm just going to go over what our possible trends were to discuss. And then that way we can either raise hands on the screen or physically raise your hand. And then we can determine which topics we want to have today. Okay, there's still some people coming in, so I'll just kind of give us a minute there. Wait, a few more people here. Okay, all right. So as I said, I'm going to go over the possible trends to discuss when I'm thinking about emerging trends in the field of campus rec. There are obviously tons of things that are happening right now. So I was kind of looking at the past NIRSA information. I think they've done a survey recently in terms of some trending information, Athletic Business Canada in terms of their magazines and whatnot as well. So this is kind of what I've pulled. So I'll let you take a quick glance, and then we'll go back and do a call to say, okay, I want to do A first, B first, C, etc. Okay, so just kind of skim those over. First one was the 2021 fitness trends. So that would be one of the topics and everything kind of involved there. The next one would be equity, diversity, inclusion. You can see a few kind of other subcategories underneath of that, followed by infrastructure, and then next technology, so registration software, apps, digital platforms, fitness in terms of, like an example would be like TechnoGym and my wellness app. And then I was just reading in the athletic business about artificial intelligence, so I added that one to the list as well. Not sure how it will relate to campus rec, but we'll see. Research and benchmarking. And then we've got post-COVID considerations, health and wellness, and then other. So Megan, I might get you to help me here because I can only see about 8 faces at one time here on my screen. I'm just trying to see if I can grow you guys here. Oh, there we go. That's better. I can make you larger here. One second. Okay, so either with your actual hand up at raising your hand, or if you know how to raise your hand on the screen there, you can do it that way as well. So I'll go to the top and I'll just jot down notes in terms of which gets the highest number of hands, and then that'll be the order that we start, okay? So we've got probably about 45 minutes or so to just really delve into the emerging trends that we've got going on here. So first trend, if anybody wants to start with this one, you can kind of raise your hand and then we'll kind of keep on going. So first one was the fitness trends. Anybody that really wants to talk about anything that's involved in that one, just raise your hand. Okay. Okay, the next one is equity, diversity, and inclusion. Same thing, raise your hand. Okay, I'm doing a quick count here. Okay, let's see. Okay, the next one there is infrastructure. I'll give you guys a second to take your hands down. Okay, infrastructure. Okay. Okay, next one is technology. So registration software, apps, etc. Okay. Research and benchmarking is the next one there. Okay. The next one then is post-COVID considerations. Okay. And we'll try and get through many of these. I just wanted to figure out which ones we wanted to start with. And then the last one there, I think is the last one, is the health and wellness. And if I'm looking this way, it's because I have your faces on that side. I'm not actually looking away from you, but I see you and I want to make eye contact, so that's why. Okay. Okay, so it looks like, I'm just going to jot this down. Okay, so our top ones, EDI. Second one will be post-COVID. Third one will be technology. And then fourth one will be health and wellness. And you're welcome to unmute yourself. It's not me discussing or sharing information with you, but rather I'm just facilitating some group discussion here, okay? So we will go to EDI first. So some of you might have participated in a call with Peter, I think it was last week or the week before, equity, diversity, inclusion. So I haven't had a chance to listen to the recording yet of that and wasn't able to attend the meeting, but that will be my plan. So I don't want to touch too much in terms of what you guys have already talked about, but if there's some things here that you want to add to this list, we definitely can as well. It seems like that's a topic that's going to stick around for a little while. So truth and reconciliation initiatives, BIPOC initiatives, LGBTQI asterisk initiatives. So I'm opening that up to the group. We can start talking about it in terms of what are you currently doing? Are there things that are working well, that are not working? Questions that you have for the group. So opening it up to the group now. Sandra, you unmuted. You want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I did attend Peter's session last week, and it was quite extensive. We touched the surface of a lot of different topics. I think one thing that we did learn from our discussion is that we're all trying to do something right now, and we do feel that it's coming from different directions, whether it's from a federal, provincial level as to what we should be attempting to do within our own institutions, departments, faculties, central administration. They're all, again, doing different things. So I think for some of us, we felt it was a little overwhelming. As much as we want to do something, we want to do it right. We want to do it efficiently, effectively. So I know in the group that I was a part of, we talked about possibly setting some sort of best practices specifically to recreation that we can start to implement, or maybe checklists that we can review with regards to policies, procedures, hiring, programming, marketing, all those sorts of things. So I think there's so much information out there that's almost too overwhelming. And so for ourselves in our discussions last week is like, if we could, come together with something that was consolidated that would give us the best practices. And I know Peter mentioned that NIRSA was doing something and coming out with some sort of guidelines as well in the fall. So I'm not too sure the details of that, but certainly would be looking forward to see what NIRSA has to offer, because they have provided some great resources to this point, and some certainly some support as we've been challenged through this past year with many of the social injustice issues, in addition to COVID.
Yeah, for sure. And as I mentioned, I wasn't on the call, so but the timing was interesting. So I missed the call, but right after that, we were having a meeting here at the University of Manitoba called Bison Oppression Initiatives. And so we started to delve a little bit deeper into that here. And so what we're doing right now is we have hired a researcher that's going to come on board and work with both Bison Sports as well as Campus Rec. We're going to do a survey for Campus Rec participants, and it's going to be qualitative research with Bison Sport athletes, coaches, and now we're branching into our community in terms of like our UMSU, our student union, to try and create a baseline as to how are we doing kind of in the EDI world. So we have reached out to Beth I'm going to forget her last name, from University of Toronto. And I think they've done quite a bit of research there. So that she's going to be kind of our liaison there, but I'm happy to share more information about what we get in terms of our baseline and kind of go from there. I actually kind of, the process that we're going, it seems a little bit like when we've done in the past, where we've done the research with like risk management with Ian McGregor, where you list all your questions and then you kind of rank yourself. That's kind of where I'm seeing it's probably going to go for us. So if others are interested, happy to share that. Feel free to reach out to me. My email, you would have got it because I sent everybody the agenda today. So that's what I can share. Anyone else want to share anything EDI related right now? Or questions around EDI topics? Okay, I'm going to just ask you guys some stuff then. So obviously truth and reconciliation is a big thing here on our campus at University of Manitoba. Just kind of raise of hands, is your campus doing something with that? And is that we're going to just kind of keep listening as more information comes? Just kind of raise of hands. I'm curious to see. Yeah, okay. Obviously the news that recently, right, in terms of Kamloops. So I think this is going to be broadening even more so. So that will probably be more information coming in the fall for sure. One other thing that came forward at our institution last week was about transgender participation in sport. Being June, being Pride Month, Bison Sports had circulated something and just trying to show their support for Pride, and got some feedback from the transgender community that where are we supporting and how are we supporting? So that's something we're planning to explore a little bit more. Right now, when we talked about that, we're going to fall under the kind of like what happens with youth sports in terms of their protocols and whatnot with transgender individuals. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, if the same request came forward from an intramural participant, how are we going to manage that? So that's kind of what we're planning to do here on our campus. So we're going to move over unless I see or hear any other hand in terms of anything else in terms of equity, diversity, inclusion. And this is an open discussion, guys, so please feel free to jump on. That's what it's not about me sharing, but rather all of us a time for chatting.
Tanya, Jennifer, Sandra, and Art all have their hands up.
Okay, perfect. I can't see many hands. So Sandra, you want to go first and then we'll keep going?
Yeah, as we know, Tanya, NIRSA did release a statement on transgender policy as they're experiencing some issues in the states and some of the regulations that are coming out state by state. And so, as you mentioned, you're going to follow, potentially the support governing body for your province. I'm just curious as to where we as an association, lie. Do we go with what is decided amongst, varsity sport, which again is a different environment than what recreation sport is. And again, it is an institutional decision, but in respect of EDI and what we're trying to support, I would hope that, as a region that we were able to support as well what NIRSA has indicated as a policy.
Yep. And Megan, I know you're on the call as well from NIRSA headquarters. So that might be something, I'm just going to share that, Sandra, that maybe in the next member update that we just put that back in there just as a refresher for everybody, members for NIRSA Canada, the policy itself or the information that came from NIRSA. I think that might be great just as a, oh, that's right. That's more information we need to explore. So thank you. Art, I think you had your hand up as well.
Yes, thanks, Tanya. Right along those lines, we're hoping to do a research grant project at York University around obstacles that transgender individuals face when it comes to recreation and wellness opportunities. And we're pretty excited about what might come from this. I was just wondering if anybody in this call has any experience with that. We are hopefully going through NIRSA for a bit of a grant as well. So there's a strong connection there, but I'm just curious if anybody on this call has had any experience with any research along those lines.
Anybody have any research?
And I'm anticipating not a lot have had experience with it. That's why we're doing it. So it's almost an okay thing. And if we're able to pull this off, looking forward to sharing what comes from it. Then. Okay, thanks.
Perfect, thank you. Jennifer?
Yeah, it's Jennifer here from the University of Guelph. Just wanted to share in 2019, potentially 2018, we were approached by the LGBTQ2AI plus group on campus regarding intramurals, transgendered athletes, and those that identify in that group. And a couple of things they asked of us just for this group is we changed the wording of some of our leagues when appropriate from co-ed to open. So the idea of co-ed being any gender, open being no gender identified at all. That was received really, really well. So a lot of our leagues have become open as opposed to co-ed. And then the other thing we did was, instead of defining the entire field of play in any co-ed gendered league, instead of defining the entire field, it was just a minimum. So only 2 minimum would have to identify as a certain gender. The other ones would not. So you didn't have to out your gender. If you were on a team of, say, a volleyball court, a co-ed volleyball team would have to have a minimum of 2 males and a minimum of 2 females, which means another 2 on that court would not have to identify in either category and therefore not identify as any gender at all to be eligible to play. So those are just some of the things we've changed that were well received by that community.
And that's at Guelph. Is that where you're from, Jennifer?
Yes, that's at the University of Guelph. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have an intramural session coming up. Oh, I'm gonna forget what the date is. I think it's next week, Tuesday, right, Sandra? 12:30, I think, Central Standard Time.
It's
Yeah,
might be.
yeah, there's another one coming up next week. So yeah, anything specific to intramurals in terms of prior to us opening up on campus, please stay tuned for that one and join that one as well. But yeah, that's great feedback. Anything else EDI related we want to talk about before moving on? I don't see any hands. If anyone else sees hands, let me know. Nope. Okay, so the next topic we're going to move over to is post-COVID. Whoa, when is post-COVID even going to happen? We're still in COVID. That's the biggest question. When is that going to be? Oh dear, hey? Okay, so I'll scroll down. Just as I said, these are just some of my ideas and thoughts of like, what does this mean? So yeah, my first thing is like, when is this going to be? Is it going to be September? Is it going to be January? You know, all those sorts of things. So obviously none of us have a crystal ball to know what the answer is there, but just in terms of getting a framework around post-COVID, those are some of the thoughts I had. So in terms of staff working from home, that's something that's being explored on our campus in terms of, obviously people have shifted to working from home, but moving forward, are more people going to be working from home? And how does that impact us? So just throwing this out there, but from our campus, we open to students and staff and community members for memberships. And obviously we haven't had a lot of staff on campus, which has then impacted our membership rates, right? And our membership base. So I don't know where that's going to go, but that's definitely something that is on our radar. So just to share that with you. Virtual content. So I think a lot of us have been thrown in the fire with that one, and just make it as you go and trying to figure out Zoom and, you know, audio visual and yeah, all that sort of stuff. So that's just something to share on there as well. We have workout blocks, and that obviously has never been the way that it was before. So I'm just going to go over in terms of what my thought process was of why we put this on here. And is that going to be staying past COVID? Enhanced cleaning. We are cleaning out the yin yang right now. So is that going to keep happening? And honestly, I love that our facilities are cleaner than I've ever seen them. Similar, more online registration, so less customer service staff at our desk because everybody's doing it online as opposed to having to come in, so less contact with staff. Ways to try and engage students to get back on campus, and the fear of, you know, some of our first year students have never even made it to the campus yet. So how do we try and engage them and bring them back here? Safety protocols kind of related to the cleaning, working out with masks. Is that going to be something new norm? One of the things we've talked about on our staff here is requiring vaccines for students, well, for members to use our facilities. And the big question about that, like, how do we enforce that? Is that something that we would be impacting human rights, right? In terms of saying you can only access our facilities if you've been double vaccinated and show us your vaccine information. So grants and other sources, because obviously the last year has been hard financially for many people. Are you starting to find that there are more opportunities in grant writing? We're doing a bit more of that here on our campus because we're all kind of bleeding money here. And staff changes. So if you had a full-time team, for example, here we had a full-time team of 12 people, happy to say I've got some people back now. It's not just me, because it was for a long time. There are 4 other people and myself, but what does that then mean for the year coming ahead? Is the staff complement going to be back to what it was before or not? So that's my preamble. Now I'm opening it up to you guys. Those are some of the things that are on my plate and thought process right now.
Yes, I guess I can start with a couple of things. So my name is Megan Locker. I'm at Brock University in Ontario. And so for others in Ontario, you know that we're only kind of just starting to open up. So this past week, we were able to open up our some outdoor spaces for students to book and for some other activities, very distanced and masked and all that. But it's interesting being part of different kind of welcome weeks planning for the fall, and trying to figure out what that'll look like, because we do have I guess course schedules out that will be I think it's about 60 or 70% in person, like so courses in person, so which means students on campus, which means then yeah, lots more people around. That it's interesting then being part of the programming for resident students or with our students union of what programming so we'll be able to offer in the fall, and very much still will be a hybrid, some in person when we can, but then also virtually, so continuing what we're doing with fitness in regards to the live either on demand or virtual fitness classes and whatever else we can do that way. But students are, there's a mix, but yeah, students will be looking forward to kind of being back on campus, and our residences as well, they're expected to be at about 70% capacity. So Tanya, you're talking about vaccines and the mandatory or that decision whether they're mandatory or not. Earlier this week, Brock put out that for our students in residence, they won't be mandatory. Vaccines won't be mandatory. So yeah, it's just different from institution to institution. So it'd be interesting to hear what others are planning to. And then even from like across the country, it's very different what we are currently able to do. So going through that and figuring out that, yeah, you could be fully open, or then, yeah, we're still dealing with kind of reopening and the stepped approach that Ontario has right now.
Yeah, that's great. Rory, I see you there as well. If you want to go ahead.
Hey everyone, my name's Rory and I'm representing Sheridan College in Brampton. I just wanted to point out that we will continue like a hybrid delivery of fitness offerings with some sort of virtual component. It'll likely be like a recording of the instructor for a fitness class to kind of remove one of those structural barriers that we all deal with in terms of students being able to participate in our activities at the given time and space. And I'm just bringing it up because it was received well from leadership within our school that we were going to continue to offer it in a number of ways. And then I guess for other stuff post-COVID, it's a lot of unknown for us right now. It's probably the same for everyone, but especially Ontario, as we're just opening up in some capacities.
I have a quick question because you guys are opening up in terms of outdoors. I think Megan, you'd mentioned it. What's your number right now that you can have participation in terms of the number of people together?
10.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're 5 right now, so that was good to hear because we didn't think it was worth running a group fitness class with 4 participants. So yeah. Okay, cool. Jennifer, if you want to go next there.
Well, so Tanya, sorry, that's only outside.
Yeah, exactly.
You're only allowed to be outside, and yeah, 10 right now.
With or without masks?
Brock, we have with masks. So, and the provincial guideline is to stay distanced, I believe, is then what is dictated that way. So, but Brock and our kind of planning and being what we're permitted to do, we're staying masked.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry. I guess if you lead the meeting, you can interject and ask questions. So next time someone else wants to do it, go for it.
Yeah, so I'm with Art actually. So 3 meters apart, no masks as well. So we're doing outdoor fitness, outdoor recreation, and we're actually doing an outdoor fitness center where we've brought out some equipment and we're doing like drop in, do your own workouts and drop in workout with a personal trainer as well. Some of my comments post-COVID is actually for discussion around, we've been open at the University of Guelph as much as possible. If we were able to open, we were open. We didn't kind of hold back anything we were allowed to do, we did, including running some intramurals in the fall. But just my own experience with it has been in fall gratefulness. So thankful you're open. I will abide by every single rule you tell me. Now opening it for outdoors, pushback. You guys have held us back for 1.5 years. It's your fault. We can't work out. Don't want to comply with the masks. Don't want to stay apart. And I just feel like because we've been locked down for so long here in Ontario, I'm rubbing up against more don't want to comply-ness. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a trend post-COVID, is as we stay on campus in a conservative manner, keeping masking, keeping 3 meters apart, and if it goes away in other places, will that fight come on our policies and procedures?
Yeah, that's good feedback and interesting, right? To see the 3 of you are all from Ontario organizations, but it's a little bit different even following the same policy. Yeah. Art, you had a face on there and I missed what side, if it was a smile or a frown, but yeah, just if you want to.
No, it was anxiety as I was trying to convey, because I think if it was Jennifer there, it's I'm really hoping that that's not the case, but I hear you. I understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, it's just been this week because we just could open for outdoors, right? And it's just like, put your mask on. Why? Yeah. Stay, you're not quite 3 meters apart. What does it matter? Like, okay.
Yeah. It's too bad it's not the thank you so much for opening like you got before, right?
That's all we got in the fall. It was fantastic to come back in the fall. I felt so grateful for the opportunity. And I'm still grateful, but a little more anxious this time.
It might be different when they get inside again, right? Fingers crossed.
Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that our capacity limits indoors aren't 10 again, because that's what they were last time.
Yeah. Sandra, I'll go with you and then we'll go to Bill and then to Lane.
Yeah, Tanya, just a couple of comments, then I have to leave for another meeting. One, thank you for facilitating this workshop today. It's greatly appreciated by myself and certainly the rest of our region. With regards to post-COVID, I think if there's one benefit that did arise from this past year was the recognition of the importance that recreation plays on campus for the well-being of our students. So I certainly know I was involved with so many more initiatives on campus, whether or not they were virtual or in terms of resources or support on committees. Certainly I recognize the role that we play beyond just offering sports and fitness opportunities. We are an integral part. So if anything, I found it was much easier to ask for those funds for things that we needed. We did collect our student fee throughout, varied percentages of it. So we try to offer as much as we could virtually to reinforce, again, the necessity to engage students in whatever manner we could. So I know I have been in contact with so many more community partners, campus partners than I ever have been because of COVID. And certainly with your work over the past year as the regional rep in connecting us across Canada has been helpful too, in being able to struggle through this with other coordinators and managers across the country has been incredibly helpful. And I don't know what I would have done without NIRSA trying to survive. I have only 1.5 additional staff in my department. So it was certainly beneficial to have a lot of those supporting documents and advice and support that you weren't alone in this initiative. So that was certainly great. I know as we move forward, we'll continue in a hybrid model. Windsor is very conservative in its approach and return back to campus. So we're only looking at maybe 30% return of classes and courses and staff. We are hoping to open our building at some point in time. We've just started as of this weekend outdoor opportunities, but it's for varsity teams only. We're in the process of building an additional new rec center, so there's not a lot of available space indoor or outdoor through the construction phase. So unfortunately we haven't been able to offer a lot to our students in person as of yet outdoors, but our goal is to be able to do that come the fall. definitely in terms of hiring, I was in pretty excited about being able to hire a fitness assistant prior to COVID, and so that was put on hold as well. So I'm hoping that we just posted that position, that we'll have one more person working in recreation at the University of Windsor moving forward. So we will continue to offer both our staff training in person and virtually when we do get back. Our programming, again, as many of the other Ontario schools have indicated, it's been a year of uncertainty. We never know when things are going to change, when we're going to be in lockdown, what capacity numbers are. So even when we do open to a larger community in the fall, we don't know what those numbers are yet. So I'm hoping it's a little bit bigger than 10. But if that should be the case, then we'll open, much as Jennifer said, we'll open under whatever requirements. But I do think that there will be a little bit more kickback and challenge from our students, as everyone's frustrated, everyone's exhausted by all the rules and regulations associated to COVID. But we just have to remind them that it is about the health and safety, and we do have to be welcoming and be understanding, because again, at the end of the day, they are paying their fees to come into our buildings and use our services, and we are a customer service industry. So I think we're going to have to kind of bite the bullet a little bit and do our best to get through those challenges. But definitely, I can't wait till this is done.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, if you got to go, Sandra, that's great. I can connect with you after if there's anything too.
Thank you.
Perfect. Bill, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Bill from the University of Lethbridge in Southern Alberta. And as of last Thursday, we were allowed to basically open back up to distanced fitness classes. The pool finally got a chance to open up since, oh man, it was, I guess, back in March, the last time we were open. And the interesting piece in Alberta, I think we tend to be renegades in a lot of different things. And it's an all or none principle in this province, it seems. So adult and youth sport actually got allowed to open up with no restrictions at all. They full on open it up. But then in the fitness center, for example, you don't have to wear a mask, but you have to stay 3 meters distance. So there's a little disconnect from, I think, the way things were opened up versus sort of restricted. So I think I want to respond, I guess, more particularly to Jennifer's comment, because that's sort of where I know that we're going to have issues when we go to when the province goes to more unrestricted type access to virtually everything, or removing all restrictions. The university is much like most universities in Canada, very conservative in their viewpoints. And the concern that I have is the health measures get reduced or removed, yet the university is still trying to keep masking, for example, as something that they want on the campus. And I sit on the reopening committee, and I made that comment last Monday that I think the university has to follow the health regulations and what the health, the chief medical health, puts forward. And we can't be always thinking we're smarter than everybody else. And I know that last August, we implemented masking before it was actually mandated by the city of Lethbridge or by the province as a whole. And as you can well imagine, like all of you, you're chasing people down the hallway saying, hey, you need to put a mask on. And so it becomes very confrontational, especially for our customer service staff or just our regular casual staff to have to deal with. So I do feel that the province, if the province decides it's open, the university has to make the same decision. I'm not saying it has to be the day of, but it has to be fairly close, because having different rules in one aspect is really going to create nothing but enhanced conflict. And I agree with Jennifer that those people that they might have been reasonable jerks last year, they're going to be very unreasonable jerks come September again when we open back up. So
yeah, I think that's a great comment, Bill. I'll just add to that too, because we're in the same situation. So we can't do anything on our campus unless we do proposal, basically, like a COVID recovery proposal that has to be approved by upper admin, right? And we're similar in terms of everybody is required to wear a mask, even though the province wasn't. So we would have to submit these proposals every time we open anything. And then if the province changed, which they change every 2 weeks, then we'd have to submit another proposal. So it's very, very time consuming. So what we have now kind of got in place is that we will follow the public health orders. So based on our province, so it's exactly as what you're saying, right? That we're not making our own rules up and having to get everything reapproved every time that the province changes. So if others aren't in that situation, I would say that's definitely been something that's been helpful for us. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I kind of forgot that. Lane, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, thanks. I just kind of wanted to provide a little bit of reassurance, I guess, to the group. I'm Lane from UBCO in BC, and BC has been really fortunate to be a lot more liberal. Like, we've had fairly mitigated COVID numbers, and our opening has been in advance of many other provinces. So our fitness center has been open since last July with masking and restrictions in place. Our varsity teams in junior heat have been practicing throughout the whole last year. And the rest of things are just starting to open up over the last couple of weeks. So we have had students, staff, faculty, and just more recently community in our fitness center over the last year, basically. And we've actually only just within the last week had one issue with a member who was kind of combating the mask policy. And I think as more people are getting vaccines, and particularly double dose vaccines, that's where it becomes like our staff member asked him to put his mask on, and he said, like, well, aren't you vaccinated? Like, I'm vaccinated. And that's where it kind of becomes this like entitlement, like, I've had my vaccine. But yeah, I totally agree with Bill and the rest of the group that our kind of leg to stand on is like, you know, this is like UBC policy. And in order for us to be open, we need to follow the safety guidelines put forth by the university that support the public health guidelines of the province. And this is what we need to do in order to be open. So I think that yeah, it just gives you more clout when, I mean, not to like pass the buck, but to say like, we're doing what the province and the university says, and we're just here to like enforce the rules. But yeah, I definitely think I was coming on to reassure you to say like, it's going to be okay. It's been fine with like 99% of our members. But yeah, as vaccines become more prevalent in the younger population, particularly, then it may be more difficult. But I mean, and in the BC restart plan as of September 7th, which is basically when school will start, they're saying like masks will be personal choice and not required in public places, and that could change. But yeah, my fear, like Bill said, is that UBC is going to try to be smarter than everyone and still require people to wear masks, and that's, I think, where we will see that pushback from our members and our students. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. We're planning like full on like in-person group fitness, intramurals, like varsity sport, all the things come September, and it's just, yeah, so crazy to think that that's gonna happen.
That's great, and thanks for the positivity, because we just opened up that we could see people outside in Manitoba this last week. So.
Yeah, welcome back to life, Manitoba. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. I know, we were so good for a while, and then we lost it, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so wow, this is great, guys, but we only got 20 minutes left, so I'm trying to be respectful of time here too. Let me just see. I think we'll move on from post-COVID just so we can kind of get to the next topic there. And the next topic was, let's go technology. We haven't talked about technology for a while, so we'll just see if there's anything that anybody wants to talk about or share. So some of the things I talked about, just thought about, was registration software. I know we've had those discussions lots. We don't need to go too deep into it, but if anyone has any nuggets that you want to share, go for it. Apps, so apps on your phone, if there's something, same thing, a nugget. Digital platforms and fitness. So I just threw something out there. So TechnoGym, that's something that we're looking at our institution, because it does on-demand, live, personal training, challenges, onboarding sort of stuff. So that was something that we are looking at. I'm just curious if anyone else is using the My Wellness app, and how does it relate or integrate with your existing software. And as I mentioned before, the artificial intelligence says that that's something that's going to be happening, but it's not happening on our campus. I'm not sure we're there yet. So Anyone else using My Wellness app? Through TechnoGym? Nope. Okay. Anything else we want to explore? Oh, right. Yeah, go ahead, Art.
I was just going to say, somewhat along those lines, we're not using the My Wellness app, but we did recently explore, actually through NIRSA, the Crew Active company that does the library of classes and on-demand services. We just kind of teased that out a little bit again, and what we ended up thinking is that was a lot more about hard bodies and models and just a different atmosphere than what we were preferencing. So because of COVID, we have this 300, 400 class library now of on-demand classes and cooking classes that we've done and nutrition seminars. We're kind of thinking of creating our own on-demand. I mean, we have it right now where our students can, but something a little bit more formal, where maybe it's free access to our students, and we charge $10 a month for staff and faculty and alumni and community or something like that. But a combination of our on-demand programs and then perhaps some specialty classes on site. So we are thinking about creating something similar on our own. Not sure if we'll want to do the work that's involved, but it's a little bit exciting to think about because most of what's out there is, like I said, just a bit of a different, I don't know, a different feel without getting into it too much.
Yeah. That's great. And we had explored member-only portal before, and that was where our struggle was. So yeah, I'm curious when or if you guys do that, let me know what platform you end up using, because I'm curious to see that. So
yeah, we'll do. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's a good one. Let me see what else was kind of in there. Digital platforms. Is anybody else or anybody using something other than Reach? We have used 4 Winds, and I would never suggest it, but 4 Wind or for Reach, is that what people are using for digital platforms right now? Or anything like that?
I don't know Reach. What is Reach, Tanya? Sorry.
Oh yeah. So Reach, it's an app right now. So that's where all of our scheduling and whatnot happens. It lives on the app, and then it connects with a digital platform that we have, like the TV screens within our facility. And that's, I think it was actually started at Western University. Might have started there. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I was curious to see if people are using anything else. It doesn't seem like that many people are using. I think, Jennifer, you mentioned you're using that one. So if you haven't explored that option and you have screens in your building and you're trying to just show people what you've got going on in your spaces or marketing materials and whatnot, that's what we're using Reach for. And so far so good, but yeah, we'll just throw that out there. Let's add someone else. Anything else you guys want to talk about specifically around the topic of technology?
Yeah, sorry, Tanya, it's Jennifer again. I was going to just say we created our own digital on-demand fitness channel on the extreme cheap, i.e. we have used a free Microsoft product that they use in academia. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's a video sharing platform on Microsoft Suites. Anyways, it's an open source channel. Anybody could access it. And the route we've gone down for post-COVID is accessibility, because we have found students who find they don't know what the class is, they're intimidated to try the class, have used our on-demand platform to learn more about instructors, learn more about the classes we offer, have then come in person actually post-COVID when we've been open, because they've been able to do it digitally. So I'm gonna look up and put in the chat the name of the Microsoft service we use, but it's free because the University of Guelph is obviously subscribes to all the Microsoft products.
Yeah, that's great. And can you limit who has access to it then through that platform?
I can lock it down. I can lock it down to all anybody who has a University of Guelph single sign-on.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, love it. Yep, that's great. So yeah, any last comments here in terms of technology, guys? Nope. Okay, we're gonna move on over to health and wellness. Health and wellness is the next one there. So I know we have had some information at the director's level in terms of the Okanagan Charter, and obviously UBCO, I think it happened at the UBC campus. So I know Lane's definitely involved with that one and was very much about that one. One of the other thing I was thinking about was just campus rec as leaders in mental health. So obviously we're hearing a lot about what's happening with students and staff and everybody because of COVID and kind of where we're at in terms of our own mental health. Just curious if anybody's come up with a plan or heard of anything really interesting in terms of how campus rec can be kind of at the forefront of that, which kind of leads to campus partnerships. If there's something that you guys have experienced this last year or so because of the opportunity to connect with partners. So throwing that one out there to the group. Do you have anything? Yeah, Art, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess just maybe a small thing. We're doing our best now to become activators of well-being on campus is kind of the phrase that we're using. So we've got regular meetings, bi-weekly, monthly now with our student counseling, health and well-being department, who will be more of the strategic planners. But across campus, COVID has certainly helped with this, as I think a couple of people referenced earlier, with getting recreation on board with improving mental health and preventing mental illness, et cetera. So our goal is to become activators of well-being on campus. We have a fitness and lifestyles division within athletics and recreation that I think will soon be changing to fitness and well-being. So we're putting a really big push towards this. And I mean, obviously well-being encompasses so many different things, but while that's the case, and while we have a chance to define it with our partners in health and well-being, we're running with it. So whether it's the nutrition, the sleep deprivation, so many other pieces that we're playing a larger role in compared to where we would have in the past when it was all about abs and hard bodies and such. So I'm hopeful that this activation of well-being and us being the go-to people for that on campus is successful, and we get to play a much larger role.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing. I like maybe I'll steal that activation for health. That's a great one. Beg, borrow, and steal. It's what we're all about. That's what we're having our webinars for. So yeah, that's great. And Lane, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I just kind of want to report back to the group for anyone who was at NIRSA Canada at UBC Vancouver back in 2019, and I presented on our, I forget what we were calling it at the time, but like our exercise prescription program, basically. We have now been successful in a full-time physical activity and well-being coordinator. Crystal Westgate, who was my only colleague in recreation for the longest time, is now our physical activity well-being coordinator. And so she's taken on that program, which we're calling the Physical Activity Mentorship Program, which is really kind of the exercise prescription model, referrals from the health and wellness clinic, mostly from counselors, but also reaching out to other partners on campus like the Disability Resource Center, Res Life Managers, Aboriginal Programs and Services, International Programs and Services, basically any student in distress related to mental health that they think could benefit from social connections and physical activity can be referred through our physical activity mentorship program. But Crystal's also filling that role of connecting us into the faculties and getting physical activity in the classroom, but also looking at faculties who are doing research on physical activity and how we can help implement that research. Using the UBC Vancouver model around like the Move You crew that that group has going on there, kind of a group of student volunteers to kind of help activate the campus, movement breaks, both in lectures and with staff and faculty. Yeah, so it's really kind of just like filling that gap, like Art said, like we're not just like the sports and fitness people anymore. We're about like well-being and physical activity. And Crystal really focuses on like reducing sedentary behavior as much as she focuses on increasing physical activity, which is kind of like the UBC well-being model. It obviously helps that at UBC, they have adopted an entire well-being strategic framework, of which 5 or 6 pillars. One of the 5 pillars is physical activity, obviously. But I've really been working hard to combat recreation as not just the sports and fitness people. Like one of the pillars of well-being is physical activity, but one is social connection. So really hammering home how like our intramural programs and our recreation programs is all about social connection, and how another one of the pillars is mental health. Well, with things like our physical activity mentorship program and things using our recreation surveys to show, you know, participating in recreation helped me with my mental health concern. And just kind of fitting in anywhere in these like campus initiatives where we're not just the people who are doing sports and fitness, but how we really are contributing to the holistic well-being of our students. Yeah, I came back from maternity leave and it was all just kind of happening, all the things I've ever wished for. So it's been really great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I jotted lots of notes down. That's good. Hopefully we can find some of that stuff online about the health and wellness framework too. So I'll do some digging for that too.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out. I'll pop my contact information in the chat if anybody has any questions or anything.
Perfect. We've got about 10 minutes left. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about health and wellness before we flip on over to another category? Nope. Okay, the rest of them are kind of equals. So, okay, we're gonna just go to the top then. Okay, so fitness trends. Yeah, in terms of this one here, I'm assuming live and pre-recorded classes, personal training, all that sort of stuff is gonna keep happening. Maybe just with a raise of hands just on your screen there. Are you thinking now that we've done COVID or have experienced COVID and we've done the virtual classes and online classes, are most of you thinking that's going to happen for your fall and your winter terms? Raise your hands if you think so. Yeah. Okay. Okay, no, that's good. One of the things I was talking with my marketing person here, and content creation has been something huge that we've been doing now because people don't come here and see us as much. So it's trying to write stories and connections with like kind of what you're talking about there, Lane, in terms of physical activity, but not just the fitness aspect of it. So we're trying to always the content right now and really getting out there that the staff in our area are experts, certified exercise physiologists, and they can talk to you about sleep and nutrition and wine and how that impacts you. And you know what I mean? So we're showing all those other elements, kind of, I'm thinking probably about the 6 elements that you're referring to there. So that's something that we're doing as well. All that information is listed on our website if that's something you want to look at. Oh, I'm not going to say your name right here. Evangelia, perhaps? Yeah, if you have something to share, go for it.
Sorry, I just put, I left my hand up.
Yeah, that's okay. I wasn't sure, but I wanted to give you the option. Okay, no, that's good.
No problem.
Yeah, no,
We do have lots going on at Ryerson. So hi, everyone. I'm Evangelia from Ryerson. We too are delving into the online world in terms of creating on-demand content. We're looking to expand our library. So I think like everyone else, we were just trying to get through things, and there's been a lot of evolution that's happened. So we'd like to create a better content and at a higher quality. So we're kind of in the beginning phases of seeing where we can spark it from here. And right now we're thinking about creating a more robust YouTube channel, in which this is where our content is and sits, and that way it's easily accessed by whoever wants to visit. And someone had mentioned previously that it definitely is a stepping stone in terms of getting people into classes after the fact. It's a great way to bridge that gap so that participants can see the instructors, get a taste and flavor for what the class is like, and really even build like some degree of belonging even before actually coming into the classes and the facility. So we're definitely en route that way, and we'll be working lots on it, because once we get back in the fall, for us it'll be hybrid, lots of still virtual, live on Zoom. Everything that will be in person will be modified. Like many others have mentioned, we'll be putting together, we have to put in a proposal to the university. So an environmental health and safety proposal, and lots of things on the table now. We're looking at capacities within each of the buildings, what requirements are. Masks on is what we're going with as of right now, but who knows as things evolve and change. And yeah, looking at various other things. We haven't quite delved into the outdoor group fitness part. Right now, our university does have some construction going on, and actually leading right into our building, which is the area where our green space is on campus, is a little bit of a mess right now. So we are looking at, can we access that space? Do we start to go elsewhere? Do we meet instructors at different parks around the city? So those are things that we're looking at right now, instead of just keeping us solely located on campus, that maybe it's time to branch out to other outdoor areas.
that's great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so with only 5 minutes left, I'm just going to scroll down here. I just wanted to share this. This is from one of our agendas from the NIRSA Canada leadership team. So if you want, feel free to take a look. There's some calendar events and ideas that are coming up here. And then now is just to wrap up. So we've got 5 minutes left. If there's a topic that you want to talk about that wasn't kind of on the list there, feel free to let me know. And I think the other thing that we wanted to see is if there was anything more that NIRSA Canada can do in terms of this topic, right? If we feel we need to have another webinar at some point, or if we're good, we just wanted to throw that out there for the group as well. Is there any hot topics that we didn't discuss that someone wants to ask a question about? Now's your time. Okay. And the other thing was if there's anything that NIRSA Canada can do for us as professionals in terms of emerging trends and whatnot, just please, same thing. You can reach out to myself or Sandra and we can make sure that that's on the agenda there as well. And I think that was it. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate seeing your faces and having your dialogue and hearing and learning from you guys. And as I said, this will be recorded or has been recorded, but will also be posted through the Canadian Region YouTube channel within a few days. So that's it. And Megan, if you just want to stay on for a second, just want to make sure that we close this out and make sure that we get all the chat before we close the call, then that would be great. Thanks everybody. Take care and have a safe return to fall and a great summer. Everybody needs a good holiday for sure. Take care. Bye-bye.